It's these two guys. These two guys. It's these two guys.
Hey, George Henry here.
And Larry Richardson.
And we are
These two guys.
Yeah. Hey, Larry, you have set up a wonderful couple of guests today. Why don't you tell everybody who we got on the program joining us?
I did. So with us, we have Chester and Alvin Cable. These are the sons of the famous Chester Cable, who's a foot juggler, basically really known in Los Angeles area. Meeting these two guys, great guys. Alvin is actually a neighbor of mine. And I've never got to meet his father personally, but heard some really, really great stories. And I thought that you guys would be interested in hearing him as well. He's a current foot juggler record holder with the Guinness Book of World Records. And that's just the tip of the iceberg of some of the things this guy has done, many great things. And we're going to turn it over to the sons, Chester or Chet and Alvin Cable, and let them tell you a little bit about their dad and their history.
Welcome, guys. Hey, let me ask you first before you get started. What was it like as young men or little kids growing up with your dad doing what he did?
Well, it's kind of like, you're in a trailer and you're traveling from town to town, and every day you gotta go to work. I mean, even when you're young, So it's either you go to school, which is, one of the dog trainer's wife was a school teacher. So when they weren't in the circus, we were, learning reading and writing and all that stuff. And then before the show, we'd have to set up and get Dad's props ready, and then later, Alvin learned trampoline and clowning and stuff. And then
Ralph, me and Ralph, it was
Yeah.
it was another brother.
So it was basically a lot of work.
So this has been your whole life, though. I mean, since you can remember.
Oh, we were born in it.
Yeah,
Oh.
we were born in between shows. I was born in the spring in March, which is just before the season started. So they were, they have what they call winter quarters where they lay over for the winter. And then, that's when I popped out. And then Alvin came out in December in the winter, right?
Oh, January. Oh, right. January.
And we were working for another show, James Brothers, in winter quarters, which is where you fix the equipment and get ready for the next season. And then that's where Alvin popped out in Martinez. So I was in Florida. We were in Florida at the time. So that's my birthplace is Tampa. And then Alvin's birthplace was in Martinez, California, because that just happened to be the show we were with at the time.
So Alvin, you must have been like right before the season started. Mom and Dad, had a little fun, and because you came out in December, right? That's about right. About March, right?
Yeah.
Beginning of the season. Well, cool.
Yeah. So there was 3 of us, and we had a couple pets, and it was like a 10, 12-foot camper and like a 30-foot trailer, and that was home. Most of the year you're traveling around from town to town. Sometimes you're only in town for a day. You pull in at night, and then first thing in the morning you set up, do a 1 o'clock show, 4 o'clock show, tear down, and then jump
There'll be
30,
circus
50,
jump shop.
60 miles to the next town, and try and get some classwork there, in between
or sleep
in between shows or whatever.
So did the circus?
Yeah, it's a pretty busy life.
Did the circus consist of just the one trailer, or was there a caravan of other folks that were with you, or were you pretty much all encased in one?
No, the show was.
There were so many different shows.
Yeah, the show we remember the most was like James Brothers and George Matthews, because we were old enough to help out and stuff, and so that show, the tent could cover a football field.
Wow.
And there was like, I don't know, probably 50 people on the tent crew between seats and tent and canvas. And then the acts, there was 30 trailers. So there was probably close to 50 rigs altogether to move the show.
And you guys went all over the U.S., right?
Yeah, just lower 48.
Now I have a question
Dad would
because
do the layouts for the tent. because you have to do the layout depending if it's a parking lot or a or a field or and then didn't he put up the signs or the arrows?
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, besides being a foot juggler, he was also like a welder builder kind of guy, and canvas boss. So, a lot of the shows he would do his act. Mom and Dad would do the act, and then when he wasn't doing the act, we were like selling cotton. I was usually in concessions, blowing balloons and selling cotton candy, and Ralph and Alvin were helping with that, but they were a little better on the trampoline than me. I fell off, and I got all pissed off, so I didn't really have the mentality, right? I started cussing and flipping out. The guy wanted me to go back on. And
How old were you when that was happening?
Oh, around 10 or 12.
Wow.
But, at 10 or 12, so I'm making $100 a day selling balloons. Right, so who wants to jump on a spring and throw balls in the air?
Right. Yeah, not a bad gig.
Right, so I didn't have a lot of incentive to practice, and Ralph and Alvin were better at it. They like to go in the ring and show off. So I was more work the back end of the.
And Dad always did. So he was a very creative builder, and he came up with because when normally you would. When we set the tents up, we had to drive the stakes in by hand, and he built several stake drivers, and then used to have to roll the canvas by hand, and then he came up with a spool on a truck with the spindle, and they would feed it on the truck, and he recreated that, and he also created seat wagons so you can just pull it in and drop it down. He did a lot. Inflatable ring curves. He's built a lot of rigging. He's one of the best riggers in the country. So if there was an issue, like I think they called him in on a Super Bowl thing for rigging when they were dropping him down. They were dropping down bodies, and they called him up to say, "Hey, how do we rig this?" And so they'll fly him out somewhere and do the rigging and stuff like that.
Very cool.
Yeah, I did see that. I did see that
creative.
reading history on him. They listed him as the jack of all trades. So he knew a lot of things. So, going back a little bit in the life as a kid in the circus, you see these movies where they show circus life, right? And for those who've never lived it, we can only see it through that
Lens.
That lens. How does that compare? I mean, you've seen those movies where they show like how close the family of a circus is, how everybody gets along, and they're just like family. Is that?
Yeah.
Dysfunctional family, maybe?
Yeah, well, my mother was a Christiani, and they had a long line of.
Well, that's one of their no, that's Ringling. So Christiani's right there. That's a Christiani poster.
Oh, cool.
But they're 5 generations, and they're still traveling in Italy doing. Christiani Brothers are still there in Italy. If you don't know who Christiani is, if you remember the horses with the pyramid with the people, those are the Christiani. They were horseback riders, tumblers, and they did trapeze, acrobatics, tumbling.
So in the 30s, they were a really big deal in Europe. So John Ringling, talked him into coming over, and there's like 6 or 7 in the troupe, right? But Papa Christiani says, no, if you're not, you have to take us all. You can't just take, the six main characters. You have to take the whole family. And the whole family composed of like 19, 20 people. Because, and my mom was part of that group.
She was 22, I think, when she came over.
So they, and how the Italians are. They're kind of hot-blooded sometimes.
Sometimes.
So they came over and, they like, they got this mentality where everything's got to be perfect, right?
Right.
And then Americans aren't quite as stringent sometimes. So there was a lot of times when they would, interact with other acts or. And they were always arguing with each other, because, the one brother says, you did something wrong, and then he would blame the other brother. And so they're always fighting amongst themselves, but they would always defend each other, right? If something were to arise. But, there's stories of them, somebody would make a rude remark to their sister or something, and they would just they would come unglued and punch customers in the circus.
Wow.
If they start cussing at you in Italian, you're like, okay.
But they were really good at what they did. They were the five brothers would all jump on a horseback at the same time, and a lot of it is the training of the horse. You could actually there's some tapes that you could see the act, and you could actually see the horse brace itself before the impact of the five people hitting them at the same time.
I remember seeing that act. I know I've seen that
Yeah,
act
it's
before.
on. I think it's on Google. The
Warner
Christiani Brothers.
Christian, yeah, it's on Google.
Huh?
Warner Brothers did a.
Oh, Warner
special
Brothers
on
did a
that.
bit on them, and then Lucho did a. So they have three horses running, galloping in a row, in a 40-foot ring, and he would do a back flipping, a back twisting somersault from the first horse to the third horse,
Wow.
and it's
Crazy.
While in motion?
There's people now doing backflips from one horse to the second horse, and but he did from the first horse to the third horse, and not just a backflip with a full somersault, a full twist, a full twisting somersault.
Wow.
And Larry asked, this is why they're running, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why they're going in in a circle.
Galloping in a 40-foot circle.
Wow.
Yeah, so they did, and that that took some ungodly amount of practice. They would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning before the show started, and be out there practicing and arguing with each other on who's doing what wrong.
So,
But they evolved into a great act.
did your mom and dad meet when she came to the U.S., or did they already know each other?
No.
Yeah, no. So they came over in the 30s, and then by the 40s, their contract ended with Ringling, so they started going to other circuses like Cole Brothers and King Brothers Circus, other big tent shows. Back then, the shows were so big that they moved by train, and they had 2,000-3,000 people crews.
Wow.
And so on those shows, on Cole Brothers, Dad ran away from home when he was 18 or something,
15.
and joined the circus as a candy butcher and usher,
Yeah.
because that's what they had an opening for. They would basically hire anybody that wanted to work, because they had there was so much to do, and that's where he met my mom at the first time. But when you got 9 Italian brothers or cousins, and the brothers kind of protected all their women. They didn't want any of these stinky Americans around their Italian brides.
Couldn't marry a non-performer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so if you weren't a performer or a show owner, you didn't have any business talking to them.
Wow.
They were kind of like prima donnas.
Yeah. So you said he started as a candy pusher. When did he suddenly realize that he could do the foot juggling?
Well, so when his mom died,
She died. He was about 7 when she died.
no, he was in his early teens.
Teens. Okay.
And then
Just before he ran off.
Right.
he ran, but then he came back, and he
Ran off
the
when he was
neighbors.
15,
The
then he came
neighbor
back.
had was John Bogart or something, was a foot juggler. He juggled props with his feet, and it happened to be his neighbor. So that he was interested in that. So that's when he started practicing, and then he went back on the circus again.
And he did 2 acts. He
Yeah.
did Rollabola
He did a rollabola
and the foot juggler.
and fire clubs, and the juggling, and then as he did it more and more, he kind of perfected the foot juggling and stuck with that.
What is a rollabola?
And then he did just pop.
Yeah, rollabola is like a giant ball that you stand on.
Made out of fiberglass. It's about I don't know, three and a half feet tall.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know that was the actual name for it. So I've seen that, the rollabola before.
Yeah.
And fire pins. Did I hear?
yeah, fire clubs.
And he did hatchets. We had some old videos on him. It was pretty cool.
Oh.
Yeah,
So that wasn't just with his feet, though, right? He'd use his hands
No.
too.
yeah,
Yeah. So he laid on his back and he had a mouthpiece with 3 spinning plates, and then he would juggle on his 3 balls on his back at the same time. As was he juggling too, right? Foot juggling at the same time. Yeah. So he'd be doing 3 things at once.
Spinning the wheel.
The wheel, spinning the wheel,
Wow.
wagon wheel. Wagon wheel had a bearing on it. And then I made a replica of one of it. Hey Deb, can you hand me that little model? I'll give you an idea.
I'm going to show you.
Okay. Oh, they can't.
And for those who did notice the third voice over there, that is Deb. She's also in the family for many years, so she's got
Hang on.
Oh,
also a lot of
Sorry about that. Hang on.
history with Chester. Oh, those are the brass
I
miniature.
can see it in the camera, so they should be able to see it, right? Can you
Yeah.
see that stuff up
Yeah.
there?
Yep.
Yeah.
And you didn't portray the circus life.
That's
in the
Debbie. That's
trailers
Chet's wife, by the way. But
all that great.
The battery's fine.
So
okay.
Oh, hey, Gabby.
go back to that question about your neighbors in the trailers. You might have fought, but you were still neighbors and you watched out for each other.
Oh yeah, no.
If people got lost on a route
Right.
to get there, like your mom got off the trailer,
Yeah,
somebody else
we were
picked her
traveling
up.
one time on a long jump, and we stopped at a rest area. Everybody goes to the bathroom, you know, stretch your legs. Mom was still in the they call them Donickers. Mom's in the Donicker, and we thought everybody was in the truck, and we take off, right? And we left our mom at the rest area, and luckily, you know, as the trailers are coming through, people are stopping, and they pick. And this was before cell phones. And so we had no idea that we left her because, you know, we travel in the camper and dad's up front driving. Sometimes people sleep in the trailer. So, yeah, we ended up leaving my mom, and then luckily she caught a ride with, you know, somebody coming up the back, all pissed off.
But everybody watched out for everybody.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
was fighting and bickering just like there
Right.
might be in any neighborhood when you can
Right.
never get away from your neighbors.
Right, but
Yeah.
you had each other's back when the time came.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's so when he was doing so when he started slowing down on as he was getting older on the foot juggling, he
Well, they started the LA Circus.
yeah, they
first.
started LA Circus with Winnie McKay, his partner, and which is still going
After your mom and
today.
dad got together.
And but that was, you know, right now he basically created one of the biggest prop rentals in the country, all vintage. So like Carnival, we got a list of movies, the stuff we can remember because there's so much of it. I remember doing General Hospital, and Debbie was in that too. Circus of the Stars, so that was a big deal they did for decades. Circus of the Stars on TV. They ended up with all the wardrobe on that at one point. Oh, you know, another one was one of the Pirates of the
If you
Caribbean.
talk to the animals.
So
Dr. Doolittle.
Dr. Doolittle, that was another one. Yeah, he's got the. I think that was Dr.
Now,
Doolittle
which Dr.
2.
Doolittle, the original or
Oh,
the Eddie
one
Murphy?
The Eddie Murphy.
Eddie
So
Murphy.
the Eddie Murphy would be the second one, and then remember the bear it comes in the wagon with the truck on the bed. So he ended up with that,
Okay.
and then he did like Cycle Circus too. That was another event thing. But there's here, list them off, Chet.
Oh, well, Circus of the Stars. A couple of the movies were Dumbo Drop and Larger Than Life.
Bill Murray.
Remember that?
Batman Forever, Water for Elephants. You've probably seen
There's a picture of him with Bill Murray.
That's a Bill Murray.
From
with
Bigger Than-
Greatest Showman. You guys see Greatest Showman?
Yeah, The Greatest Showman. You guys seen that one?
It's a
yeah.
musical?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, he's. If you wait till the end, it's like the very last paragraph. He's got credits in there for that.
yeah,
Chet also worked on that.
yeah.
we worked
I
in
worked on
New
that
York.
too.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the TV shows were like Monk and Ghost and House, Will and Grace. He did a lot of those. And then
Ranger.
also, this is when LA Circus kind of morphed into a prop house. You know,
You're gonna
doing,
lose the computer because Ranger's through the cord.
doing less movie productions and more just renting circus props out.
So when did you all start getting into the television and movie aspect? What year and what were some of the earliest ones you can remember?
Probably the first ones were Circus of the Stars.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then,
Give Me a Break, the TV show Give Me a Break.
Yeah. Give me a break.
Oh, what kind
Yeah,
of
there was
props?
another guy named Polly Bear. I don't know if you ever remember Polly Bear.
You know-
he was from
He was-
Mayberry RFD. He was the
Yes.
mayor. He was a circus guy. And he did a lot of props and stuff. And he started kind of getting away from it because he was getting old. And then as he backed out of it, then, Dad started picking up
They were good friends.
that work.
Yeah.
What
So that
kind of
was-
props would you guys rent? Just a couple examples.
Oh, I mean, he has over 100 tents.
He made them himself.
Made a lot. We made, both of us, I was usually weld the frames up and he would cut canvas.
Yeah, I kept
But
cameras
like
and so.
a lot of 10 by 10s. And then, with the circus tent, you usually go by the width. So if it's 90 foot wide, and then you can keep adding middles, because you got one center pole, two center poles, three center poles. So you can make it really as long as you want. And so he has a lot of 90-foot tops, 40-foot tops. Is there 120 or not? I don't
Yeah,
remember.
with it. Yeah, the red. Yeah.
And then he has ring curb and like the rolling globes and clowns, mannequins, horses and elephants and
High wire racked.
high wire,
Yeah.
Wow.
all that stuff. So
So I don't know if you've ever seen Carnival. They did that one for years. So all that was all the vintage stuff you basically see in the movies. What he has.
that was an HBO series.
That HBO series.
He did a
Carnival.
lot of the one with American Horror Story. You remember that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, the one where they did. It was like a creepy sideshow edition.
That was the one with
they
Lady
filmed that
Gaga,
in
wasn't
New
it?
Orleans.
I
What's
think
that?
So.
Oh, they did the Miley Cyrus.
With
Yeah.
the one with Lady Gaga.
With Lady Gaga.
Yeah, the American Horror Story was the season that she was on there. Lady Gaga. I think that had the
Oh, okay.
circus.
Right.
Yeah,
that was
that
it.
was all
That-
dead.
that-
That was
yeah.
all dead
That
stuff.
was in New Orleans.
New Orleans.
New Orleans.
Yes.
Yeah.
Most of it was filmed the outside shots.
So how about some interesting anecdotes about your father? What stories have you got about him that you can tell?
He was really good with his shoe.
So I remember one time we were traveling and he stopped on the side of the road and opened up the hood, and I'm like, so that's when we kind of get out and I'll take a little pee break on the side of the road, and then I realized he was cooking hot dogs on the motor, right? And he's eating hot dogs, and I'm kind of like, hey, where's mine? You know what I mean? And he would do stuff like that. Oh gosh, you gotta have some stories on that one.
Yeah. I remember the blowdown. We had
Oh, yeah.
in Grand Junction, Colorado. We were set up, and I was working the popcorn stand. I don't know where Ralph and Alvin were.
Actually, I had so when the storm hit, one of the working men, boss's kid, whatever, because he was the tent boss, they threw me in the trailer right away. But then Chet was still
I was
inside. He was inside, so you can go from there.
Yeah. So this tent covered a football field, and the center poles were 40 foot tall, right? And there was 2 rows of quarters, and the quarters are like 30 foot each. And then I don't know, a couple hundred side poles. And so an 80-mile-an-hour gust of wind hit us, and the whole tent just puffed up. And all these big center poles, all the poles are just dangling in the air. And the guy in the mic, Ed Russell, he goes,
Yeah.
"Will everybody please evacuate?" And then the mic went out because this lost the juice. And Herbie Weber was on the low wire, and I remember he grabbed Melissa, pulled her by the hair, and dragged her out of the tent. He ran. You always remember he said, "If you're ever in a blowdown, run into the wind." And so I started fighting towards the wind, and the pump, the side guys, it started popping like a machine gun, and the whole tent just went over.
And your dad was yelling at everybody to run into
So
the
it
Yeah.
folded over, basically folded over the crowd. It was during a live show. When-
Luckily, but
Yeah.
it drugged the poles over the seats.
And
Right.
your dad was
So
Yeah, Dad was yelling orders, barking orders,
Getting people out.
getting a lot of people out
What-
in time.
So,
About when was that?
Yeah.
Like year wise?
That was that in the 80s? No,
no, that was more hang on,
yeah, early 70s.
early 70s.
70s. Wow.
We were pretty young at the time.
Those
Well,
are-
I was.
Yeah.
So
Anybody get hurt?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like nobody got killed, but there was 3 or 4 serious injuries. So they, I mean, the emergency services came. They got everybody patched up, and then we started cleaning up the mess and set the poles back up and open the show the next day. Right, show must go on. So they just opened the circus without a tent.
Oh, so you just
So
no
they-
tent, just open.
It just it just shredded it from the
Wow.
wind. But yeah, he was able to get as many people out as he could, and then patch everything back together again to put a show on for the next day. So that was pretty impressive.
I've seen Grand Junction. I know there's a lot of open space there. The mountains are a little far away, but there's a lot of place for that wind to be blowing for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that was happening with John Strong's circus too. He was always usually the canvas boss. He would always make a deal where he would do his act and work the canvas, set the tent up, and have concessions and stuff. And when we were with John Strong, John Strong had one of the birds from Dr. Dolittle named Arthur.
oh yeah, I remember
The
that.
original Dr.
That's from the
Dolittle.
blowdown.
I'll show it to
That's
him.
actually
Yeah.
the year
The
in it.
original was
okay.
Rex Harrison,
Yeah.
right?
So it was 1970 on the blowdown. There's actually, oh no, I just dropped it. So we got the original. So 1970 was that's the article on the front page.
Oh my
So it was
goodness.
1970. That was a lucky guess actually. So on Dr. Doodle, I remember that when I was a
Yeah,
kid.
Arthur. So Arthur would be placed in a truck. It was a lot smaller circus, and the first thing you do was unload the animals. Right? There was the macaw. Arthur was the macaw, golden blue macaw,
Yeah.
and we bring him out, and then we start setting up the tent. And when you're setting up the tent, when you're pushing poles up, the dad would be yelling at the crew, stick it in, shove it up, get it in, get it on, let's go. So the macaw would pick all that up. So then, the boss's wife would come and show up, and Arthur would be going, stick it in, shove it up, let's go.
So I remember one time, he would cuss a lot. So, and my mom thought it was like the working guys, right? Like, or drinking but it was actually the bird. And then I remember one time, they were backing up the truck, and the guy in the back going, back it up, and the bird picked up and said, back it up, and they backed it into a wall. And that was because the bird was talking. It was pretty good.
That's funny. So
Yeah.
what about
That was
what about some of your dad's world record stuff? What can you tell us about that?
Well, the Guineas, they did a show on Guineas had a TV series, right,
Yeah.
for a while,
I remember that.
and that's where that came from, and part of the act was he would take the table and he would spin it legs down, and then he would flip it over and spin it legs up, and then he would flip it over, and then he would stand it on the end on the corner. There's probably a picture of it over there.
Yeah, right here. Hang on. This is a full-page article on one of the. So that's the table coming down right there.
Because he would balance it on the corner and then drop it to his feet, and then when it was on his feet, legs up, he would roll it side to side like this.
Yeah.
I understand that.
He
That
did
table was
that,
about
but,
9.
when he did that, he was in his 60s or something, right?
Yeah.
But and he did that for 50, 60 years. But when he was young, like in his 40s or something, he could have did that for, I don't know. I think the record was 35 revolutions. But when he was in his prime, he could probably done it 100 times. But by the time this Guinness thing came around, you know, he was already pooping out a little bit. He would get dizzy and have to drink Gatorade and stay hydrated.
Now, my understanding is that table was about 9 foot long, right? It's
Yeah.
a really, really long
It's
table, and
10
I think it's
10 foot
100,
long.
3 by 10.
Yeah, it's 10 and 100. It was 130 pounds.
130 pounds.
10
yeah.
foot long.
Wow.
And it made out of, well, he had several of them. Original ones that started off with wood and fiberglass, and then he perfected it through the years. He made a three-piece section out of aluminum, and the center was plywood. But it was still 130 pounds.
Yeah, and that's the light version.
That was the light one.
Yeah,
Right.
the
And I
wooden
did
ones were
check.
really heavy.
He still holds that record today. So
Yeah, he actually
Yeah.
broke his own record, and then it still holds today. Nobody's going to break it because nobody foot juggles anymore.
Or anything like
I mean, they do, but not what he did.
not what he did. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
So tell us some stuff you guys experienced on the road. I know that you grew up in the circus. You've done a lot of the things. What other things have you done besides like juggling? During
And
your
selling
time?
balloons.
And selling, yeah.
Well, you know, he came from in Pennsylvania Dutch, right? And so he was Mennonite, which is, they call them Amish with tools. So his whole family, they were coal miners, as a matter of fact. So, you know, his dad and his grandpa they would be blacksmiths and welding and making little gadgets to get in and out of the coal mines. So I think that's where he picked up all this building stuff. And, you know, so that's we kind of picked up that trait too. You know, I work as a welder and a driver and a maintenance guy, and
Weld anything but the crack of dawn and fix anything
Yeah.
but a
that's
broken heart.
Deb's my greatest fan. She's weld anything but the crack of dawn and fix anything but a broken heart. But so, you know, and the circus life is pretty rough, you know, especially when you get older. A lot of people in the circus, you know, they find other avenues, either with Hollywood or management or
Training.
or train, right? Yeah. So, because, you know, my wife used to be in Ringling, and she's all busted up. You know, she has a bad back now and bad ankles, especially, you know, you hang from your neck and slide down a 100-foot cable by your neck. You know, it's okay when you're 19, but
Takes its toll.
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, did you guys meet at Circus as well? You and Deb? Debbie?
Yeah,
So-
we met in the circus.
She knew my dad when she met my dad when she was 14.
Yeah,
I've
Yeah.
known, I've
And
known
she
my
did-
father-in-law longer than my husband.
Right. Yeah, she knew.
You guys have room for her to come
Oh,
back, Deb? You want to come on so we can say hi to you?
Get behind Alvin and Chet, or
So Carl Wynn was did Wire Act.
I'm just,
The Wynn family, basically. Come on in, Deb.
Okay.
That's Debbie.
hi.
Hi.
There she is.
we
Hello.
met.
You can tell how we met.
How you
Go
doing?
ahead.
We're doing
So
great.
Chet and I met at it was a fundraiser in California. I was working in a football field with Carl Wynn Productions. I did the Slide for Life, which is the next slide down, this slanted wire. Carl would walk the wire, and we worked a motorcycle act. I'm on the trapeze
they
on a
would-
motorcycle.
They would string a wire from the one end of the football field to the other up to a light tower. You know, so it was. Have you ever seen a motorcycle where a motorcycle drives up a wire?
yeah.
Yeah.
There's a trapeze
An
below it.
inclined wire with a trapeze underneath it.
That was Carl Wynn.
Wow.
That's the act
The
she
Winds are
did.
famous for that.
And
Yeah.
they do 3 acts on the wire. They do the motorcycle, they do the walk, they do the slide for life where you slide down the wire, the motorcycle, and then they would walk up it. And so Deb was doing the slide for life.
And Carl, he thinks he's a jokester. So there's 2 brake ropes. I can't touch the ground. You hang by your neck, you slide down, and the ropes break you because at the end is an A-frame with the motorcycle, so you don't want to run into the A-frame. Carl let me come in too fast with the first brake rope. He had gotten Chet to break me on the second brake rope, and he thought that I was going to hit the A-frame. So he got in front of me and got hit with the lower half of my body in his face. That is how we first
That's
met.
how they met.
Oh, there you go. Well, that's
It was love at first sight at
I
that
can
point.
picture. Love
there's
it.
a full
Did you say
audience
love
there,
at first
too.
sight or first bite?
It was just a one-day one-day show, though. So that's how we met.
It only
And then
takes
we were
once.
working together, LA Circus in Japan for 6 weeks, and he was my web setter, which means he makes me look really good in the air because you climb a rope and you do all these tricks in the air. But I don't look good if I don't have a good setter. They have to tighten the rope so I can climb it and loosen it so that I look good doing the tricks, hanging by my hand or my foot or whatever, while
So
they
he was-
spin me around.
He's the guy on the ground that kind of makes everything
Correct.
look fluid
Yeah.
and smooth
Right.
as you.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
You have
Yeah.
to have, and they're both excellent web setters. Alvin set my web for me. It was really low in a studio.
I had to lay on the floor and spin her because it could stay out of the camera, and I spun her so fast she almost threw up.
Well, it spun me for over a minute because nobody yelled "hut" and
Yeah,
ended the session.
nobody said cut.
Nobody
Yeah,
said "cut."
And you said
I
there
kept
was a
spinning her,
camera.
and at some point she's like, "I'm gonna throw up on you."
And it was the finale, so you're hanging by one arm with the other arm in your back, spinning as fast as he can spin you. And that was for the American Billboard Awards. But so I came
Okay,
down,
American
took a
Billboard,
couple steps,
right.
and kind of fell to the ground because I was super dizzy.
So there's probably
But
video
anyhow,
of that
look,
available.
That's how Chet and I first met.
What's
was-
that, George?
So there's probably video of that available.
Yeah, and I don't know where it's at though, but there should be. It was American Billboard Awards in I think it was before 2000. So
Carl, we ought to ask Sheila. She might have a copy.
Sheila
of it.
didn't do that. That was through Winnie.
That was
Winnie booked
yeah, I
that.
remember
Oh,
that. Yeah. So Winnie McKay, which is Dad's partner, which still LA Circus is still going on.
You guys can put it.
They
Thank you, Debbie.
they're just the last movie Dad did actually before he passed was the movie was called Queen of the Ring, and it was a wrestling for back in the 30s. And it's I don't know if you've seen that or the highlights on it yet, but we watched it about a month ago. It came out about a month ago, right? Something like
I
that.
haven't seen it
couple
yet.
months ago.
We
Yeah,
watched
did.
it. We watched it at my house.
watched it.
But anyway, it's called
Oh,
Queen
that's
of the Ring, and that was one of the last movies Dad did. It came out after he passed. And then, but they're still doing production. They're still doing rentals. We did. The couple of videos we did was Blink 182.
Blink 182, yeah.
So Blink 182, you can Google Blink 182 Circus and it'll pop up. And that was kind of a last minute show they had to do to pull it off. And then they also worked with Rob Zombie on a lot of videos. I mean, it's we got a list here, and that's not even half of the stuff.
Well, a lot of it's commercials.
Yeah,
too,
they did
now.
commercials. Cialis commercial, that was interesting. I remember waking up with that. We went down
Now,
to
now
visit
how
my
does the
dad.
circus come into a Cialis commercial?
Pitching a tent.
So
pitching a
here's the
tent.
interesting part. That's the funny thing because they did my dad has like a merry-go-round, and so they set up a scene, a commercial, and the shoot. We watched it for some strange reason. We seen it on TV, and I recognized my dad's stuff. And then we drive down to visit Dad, and then we actually this thing. The thing was still set up, the set. And then we get out of the trailer we were staying in, and my wife goes, "I can't believe this." And I go, "What?" She goes, "I'm in the Cialis commercial." Because the set was still there. It was kind of funny. But they just did a lot of different commercials and videos.
Movies, yeah.
Movies, lots of movies. I mean,
One time when we were in Japan, we did. It was some kind of competition. What was it, Fukuoka or something? Anyway, so they decided to do like Popeye, so Popeye would juggle, and Olive Oil would do the trapeze, and Sweet Pea did something on the show. They made these characters. It was for a children's festival, and then there was a bus ride to get from there to the airport. It was like
We're in Fukuoka.
in Fukuoka, yeah.
Fukuoka.
It was a 4 or 5 hour bus drive.
Yeah.
So we were there for a month or two, right?
6 weeks.
Six weeks, yeah.
Yeah. So everybody got kind of close. But then on the bus ride home, somebody snuck in some yachts and sake. And so Granger was Popeye, right?
Yeah.
And then and then Sweet Pea was a girl. I forgot her name.
I can't remember either.
Yeah, she was gay at the time. But anyways,
Just at the time.
Just at the
Not before and
Right at the
after.
time, yeah.
Just
so
right
they're,
there.
they're
Okay.
at the back.
It's fluid.
bus trip.
It's a fluid.
So they're in the back of the bus. Sweet Pea and Popeye are in the back of the bus, and they start fooling around, right? And Saki was involved, and they got kind of close and had little sexual encounters. So they did whatever, and then we get to the airport finally, and Dad goes, "You think Sweet Pea really likes Popeye, or is she just falls for any old seaman?"
Oh yeah.
That was classic. That was good. Dad was pretty humorous on that.
That
one.
was pretty. Yeah, that's classic.
Quick
Dad.
wit, huh?
Can I show
Well, I see where you guys get it
I
from.
don't know.
'cause I know
Yeah,
Alvin,
there's
Alvin's
you
very,
on
very
the-
quick-witted.
There's you on the website.
Right.
Oh, can you take? Yeah.
Yeah, but I could pick it up and put it in front of you.
Okay.
too.
Steph
Oh,
has some
hang
pictures
on.
of-
She got more pictures.
So this is Chet with the web setting, and that's me above him.
Might
so
have to
web
push
setter.
him a little bit closer.
Yeah, push you a little closer to the.
Yeah. You have the motorcycle act?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She got. We're surrounded in a circus room, so we got a lot of.
Yeah, I can see.
Lot of-
I
lot of
see
cool
all
stuff.
the poster art in the background there. I think there was more when you pan the camera to your right.
Well, the whole room is full.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's more on.
Yeah, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pictures.
So motorcycle act. There's a big picture there. That's me, and that's Carl Wen.
But see that motorcycle
yeah.
rigging it, that's 150, 200 feet long on that wire. You don't have one of the Slide for Life, huh?
Yeah, I do. I'll find it.
And you guys have to lift the motorcycle up there. It balances itself, right, with the cages underneath.
Yeah, it's kind
Yeah,
of
the
it's kind
two
of
of us
it's
balance
trapped.
it.
Yeah, it's trapped.
But you could actually spin it. They do rollovers, right?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, we did a rollover.
Yeah, they did do rollovers.
I don't.
Called
I have a picture.
rollovers.
But
You revolve it.
you can see.
spin it.
I guess you're gonna have a lot of editing, right?
Yeah, we'll have a little bit. That's
little
all right. That's part of the fun.
George has become
Right?
a whiz at editing. So,
Do you have any questions or?
yeah. So when was the last time you guys had anything to actually do with the circus? Each one of you.
So when was the last time we helped them out? Was it
It was when you did Blink 21.
the
We
Blink
were
21?
just there. when
Blink
we
182.
did tents and
Chet,
stuff.
Chet did. Well, you helped on Blink 182,
Oh
right?
no, we did America's Top Model.
Oh yeah.
We said Dad set the tent up, and then me and Deb were heading down in the trailer, and we got about halfway there, and he passed away. So then when we got down there, we kind of helped finish up the set. Did the movie shoot and then tore it down. So that was about a year ago, wasn't it?
February.
February,
Yeah,
February 4th or 50th.
Yeah.
February 5th.
They don't do as much anymore. They still do every year the Insomniac. You ever heard of the Insomniac, the Daisy Chain, with Electric Carnival, whatever they call it. It's just a big rave,
In Orange, was it Orange
County?
Fair?
Yeah,
Sounds
yeah, they
familiar.
do that one every year.
Fight for
Still,
life.
they have a circus and
We'll take
They
the
do
pictures of it.
some sideshow
We'll just
stuff
take
and-
some pictures.
Okay.
and then they have a lot of props. They set up like 6-8 gypsy tents, and then one big tent for the acts, and then a lot of the trucks from Carnival are scattered all over the site. So and then they have one other big show they do for
Cycle
a
Circus?
corporate party for some big .com outfit in San Francisco. They do that one every year, and then they do a lot of small stuff in and out of Hollywood. Just prop rentals and stuff.
The
Did you-
busiest time is like
October.
October, yeah.
Did you
Halloween,
guys
they always got a lot of stuff there.
did you guys ever interact with Jim Rose? Are you familiar with the Jim Rose Circus?
Yeah, it sounds familiar for some
It's
reason.
more like a I would say it's more like a freak show kind of thing. You had Mr.
Yeah,
Lifto
Yeah.
that would hang a
Sideshow.
block from his penis and stuff like that. Weird stuff.
So what was that show you guys went to? And it wasn't Psycho Circus. That was something that they did, but it was, what was the one you went to Portland with recently?
Oh, that was Cramian.
it's not a. It wasn't a kids' circus. Put
Right.
it that way.
Oh, that was. Sure, I
It
forgot
was
the
just
name of it.
off the hook.
It's like an X-rated circus.
Yeah, it's an X-rated circus basically.
That sounds like it could be the
That's
same.
kind of what Jim Rose was. I'd seen him in Nashville, and they had all these, they had all these multi-pierced people hanging things from multi-places and stuff like that, and,
Oh.
Yeah.
shaking them around, and yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the circus is morphed into more gothic or a sexual nature than it used to be originally. Originally, it was like a traveling zoo,
Right.
and because of all the animal rights stuff now, there's very few circuses left with elephants.
There isn't any. It really.
I think
that-
there's one in the East Coast.
Yeah, that's one reason why Ringing Brother ended up shutting down. But
Yeah, they all the elephants are in a sanctuary now.
right,
That's why Gary Johnson left.
right, yeah. Half Trunk Will Travel was a friend of my dad's that did Dumble Drop, and what was that one movie he did? It was. Anyways, he's done
Operation
several
Dumble
hundred.
Drop, right? That was what Ray Liotta
Yep.
and I
Yep.
can't remember
Yeah.
what she's
Yep.
name. I remember that.
Yeah.
Dad built the cage for that for the elephant.
Yeah, so they had to transport it. They filmed it in Thailand, I think.
Right.
So they had to transport the elephant there. So they built this big cage, and the owner Gary Johnson actually rode in the cargo bay with the elephant because, the elephant gets nervous and he didn't want to leave her alone.
Yeah.
And they told us it's going to be really cold in there, but he didn't want to. That's just how those trainers are. They treat those elephants like they're their child.
Yeah.
So
Well, when I was a kid in 1963, my dad worked for the JCs in New Jersey, and they brought a circus to town, and they actually brought a trailer to our house, offloaded 2 elephants, brought them up our driveway, and we had a huge old-style barn at our house. And there's pictures of me feeding the elephants, and pictures of 4 guys pushing the elephants into the barn like they're trying to get them in there, and that was part of the publicity campaign back in the day. So that was my first experience with the circus.
yeah.
Do you remember what circus that was?
I don't. Like I said, it was 1963. My sister still has the flyer from it, so if I could get that from her, I could find that out. I could share it with Larry.
They probably know. They probably know who it is. I mean, because Dad's been doing it 74 years now. I mean, they long time.
It wasn't
They-
Ringling
they-
Brothers or Barnum Bailey, but it was apparently a pretty big one. They came by train, and they had a few trucks as well. And I
Could be
think
Cole
they offloaded
Brothers
the
or-
elephants from the train, put them on the truck, and then brought them over to our house.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
B.D. Cole. That's on the East Coast, huh?
Yeah, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably B.D. Cole.
B.D. Cole. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot more shows back then. It's hard to say.
I think not original, but I remember when we, because the carnival and the circus used to travel together at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was one group, and then it kind of dwindled off. The circus went one way, and the carnival went another direction. I remember that part
Yeah.
growing up.
But yeah, elephants are pretty cool. They're really, really smart. And I remember one time there was James, I don't know if it was James Brothers, but there's like 5 of them on the line, and there was always be one awake. It's like one was always standing guard while the other one's sleeping. They would alternate and take turns. And then some bozo was up there teasing the elephant. I don't remember if it was a roustabout or what.
Was that the one with the cigarette butts?
Yeah, he'd
okay,
take a cigarette butt and the elephant would reach out because the elephant thought it was food or something.
or a peanut.
And then I noticed that the elephant had slack in its chain, right? So the elephant, all it had to do was step forward. So the guy was reaching out, and the elephant had his trunk out like he couldn't reach him, and he was just playing the guy. Because as soon as the guy got close enough, the elephant stepped forward, grabbed him by the wrist, and then flung him into the side of the semi, and then tried to sit on him. And then luckily the guy was able to roll underneath the semi-trailer. Otherwise he would have smashed him.
I remember growing up, the guy was all busted up though. But that's what you get for messing with the elephant. So
Yeah.
they don't forget.
No, they do
You
not.
got
Well,
Oh, Debbie wants to say something.
Okay.
Hang on, go ahead.
So, one of the things you learn in Ringling Brothers when you're first there, the animals are trained. They are tamed. Sorry, I was right the first time. They're trained. They are not tamed. They are wild animals, and you treat them with respect. And the elephants are chained up for their protection because people do that. Like in the movie Dumbo, the elephants were not chained up to be hurting the elephants in any way, shape, or form. It was because people would come up and bother the elephants, and so the way to keep the elephants safe was to keep them away from the people.
right.
The elephants, some of those elephants don't take any crap.
They are trained. They are not tamed.
Well,
and they are.
I can share another story with you from my dad and the elephants. We were living in Tucson at the time. I was probably about 6 or 7 years after this. And we went to the zoo and there were elephants down there. My dad was making fun of the elephants. So we walked away, we went through the zoo. When we came back to the elephant went over to the water, took a big suck of water in its trunk, and flung it right at my dad and hit him square in the body. Like he remembered him from coming through and harassing him.
Yeah,
It's so funny.
they're basically one of the smartest creatures on the planet. I mean,
believe
that elephants don't forget, and it's true. They're highly intelligent.
The cats are no dummies either. They know how to spray and aim, and
Yeah.
they can aim and spray you
Like
within 30 to
The
40
tigers,
feet.
yeah.
Tigers and lions, yeah.
Tigers and lions, yeah, they're not stupid either.
Oh,
Yeah, we used to push cages, and you got to watch their wiener, man. If they come,
They spray you.
they'll spray you.
Well, and I remember that my dad said, never put your fingers in the cage. Right? So when you push the cage, you push flat,
Right.
like that, because
They are trained. They are
yeah.
not
So I
tamed.
remember one of the because we worked props. We did a lot of prop working. If we weren't, as we got older, we did a lot of props and so what happens is, so when you push in the tiger cage, so I remember one of the prop guys had his finger missing, and I'm like, I know what that's from, because he's putting his fingers in there, and the tiger would just take it off. So
wow.
yeah, you got to be careful. And never. The one rule is never wear You're not allowed to wear steel toe shoes around elephants. Because if they step on your foot, they'll just cut your foot off.
Yeah, you never
'Cause
get your
they're-
toes back then. Will you?
Right, yeah. So that was I remember.
Yeah, chimps are nasty too.
Yeah, the
If you're
chimps.
nice to them, they're nice to you. You know.
Yeah, some of them are just assholes, though.
Yeah, just like
You know,
human
they would
beings,
be
they all have their own personality.
if the trainer's there. I mean, that's the reason they have the bull hook, because if you're around an elephant, you have to have a bull hook, because the elephant will go, uh-oh, he's got a hook in his hand. I'm not going to mess with him. But sometimes, you'd be walking by the elephant, and you got to get to your trailer or something, and there's no trainer there, and fucking Lovey, she would fucking swing at me all the time.
They
she
were
was
very
just a
loyal
bitch.
to their families. Though. to their families.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
who raise them and take care of them
Right.
are their families. They're hers. They're people,
But
and
some
they
of them-
will defend you to
Some
the
of them
death.
are really friendly, and some of them are just buttheads.
Chimps are notorious for when they fight. I guess they bite the fingers off first, right? Did you ever have chimps that would do that with each other? Did they fight each other? And
Oh,
chimps?
chimps?
yeah,
No, the only I had a run-in with a chimp, but I was working props and I had to move something. They would do an act and then they would go back to their seats, and once they got in their seat, then I'd have to go into the ring and grab the prop and take it out of the ring. And when I did that, the chimp just freaking took his chair and he just flinged it at me in like one motion. And during the show, he just those suckers are just mean.
And they're
So-
very strong.
So when that happens during a show, do you play it off? Do you make it part
Yeah,
of the
just keep
show?
working.
Yeah.
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 Like it was supposed to happen?
Right.
Right.
exactly. Yeah, one time we were in Riverside and a garbage truck came through. We were set up in the street. Garbage truck comes through and it hits the guy line and pops the guy line. And so we didn't have a lot of time, and Dad didn't want to lower the rigging and check everything, so we just redid the one guy line. But what happened was it pulled the swedges on the opposite side. So
I remember that.
now it's during the show, and there's 3 girls in the air.
I was one of them.
Yeah, Deb was one of them. You had Darlene.
I had Darlene.
I had
I-
Deb. I don't remember who was in the
I think
middle.
I caught Darlene,
Stephanie
right?
was in the middle. She didn't.
Stephanie
do
was
so.
in the middle.
Right.
And So the opposite during the show, the opposite side of the guideline pops, and she started coming into the pole.
Right.
Because her rigging broke.
Because the rigging broke.
But luckily, it broke on the low end, not the top end. And Alvin was on the working the web, so he was able to keep her from slamming into the pole. And then so we called everybody down, down, down. And all the girls came down, and they all styled like, ta-da! Like that was part of the show. Luckily, nobody got hurt.
Yeah.
A guy line caught somebody when it went off and hit him in the head, and it didn't hurt him bad. But the Winnie just gave him some free cotton candy and popcorn and played it off. And everybody was happy.
I think the average person watching this wouldn't really know something went wrong, right? It wasn't super apparent that.
Yeah, no, they all styled like it was part of the show.
Right.
So
They just played and played it off.
we were freaking, to tell you the truth, because
Yeah,
Because you knew
she
the
went,
potential.
she went
right?
into that pole. She was coming down fast.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I don't know. Do you have anything
There's
else?
accidents and stuff where you can't
Hang on.
always play it off. The
I can't-
Espanias and Ringling Brothers, one of the
He's trying to
sisters.
say something.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. What was that, George?
Oh no, I was just gonna say I didn't know. If you guys had anything else to share or that, or if we, we could wrap it up
No,
if
we
we're
talked about
getting close to
Spania.
the end.
well, Deb's got a.
Well, no, it's just accidents in the circus. You play it off as best you can, but you can't always play it off. You do finish. The Espanias were two groups of flyers, one whole family, and one of the sisters hit the net wrong, missed a trick, hit the net wrong, and she wasn't moving. But they still had to finish and get her off and go get her checked out. She was luckily okay, but she was knocked out for I don't know how long. It couldn't have been that long because they're not going to leave somebody
Right.
dying in a net. But they still, all of the guys were up in the air and everybody had to come down and get her out of the net. So you play it off as best you can, but there's somebody in the net. Obviously, there's something wrong.
Something's wrong.
Right.
And Carl Wen, he fell like 28 feet in Canada. The whole audience saw it. There was no way to play that off. He was severely hurt,
He was walking up an incline wire.
and we think he had a heart attack or something. We don't really know.
Didn't the pole hit a light?
Pole might have hit a light, lost his balance, fell, tried to
And he
grab the
fell.
wire. One of the guys, you try to break a person's fall because they're falling straight down, and if you break the fall by
You're
pushing
supposed to try
them,
to hit him with your shoulder to
you break the momentum.
Right.
So,
So
yeah.
they shouldn't hit as hard. But he ended up hitting his head on props.
But when
in
he
a
hit
ring
him,
curve.
it spun him.
Yeah.
This is
So
like
you can't
So
play
he
that
ended
off.
up landing on his
typical
head.
typical training for you guys as well, right? Like crisis management.
Right.
If something happens, everybody kind of knows what to do.
Well,
Theoretically.
And
Just the plan
Really?
anyway,
Every
right?
every situation's unique. Yeah.
right. You just don't know what's going to happen.
Gunther used to, in the opening, there's a parade, and he would have himself with a tiger on the horse.
That's funny.
And something spooked the horse. And so Gunther went off one side, and the
The
tiger
lion-
ended up in the third row of the audience.
Oh.
Everybody was okay, but the tiger was freaked out. Well,
Yeah.
so were the people whose lap he landed in. So they ended up smoking dope, and nobody stopped them.
Good old remedy.
Yeah.
But the tiger was just as scared as the people.
This tiger
Right.
was as afraid of the people as they were of him.
Yeah.
He was really mellow.
Yeah.
And you guys
So,
can get through
stuff
roughly
happens.
how many shows without having an accident? I mean, if you had,
Yeah, if you had that little sign there that says 360 days since our last accident, what was the average?
It's a good question, but I know a lot of people that didn't survive. I mean, I know Dinky was doing a Super Bowl commercial, and there was like, I don't know, just like 10 girls, and they would drop on bungees
Oh, yeah.
during Super Bowl, and then
Super
they
Bowl
would
halftime
bounce,
show.
come up, and then the riggers would lower them down to the ground, and they would style. And the rigger was watching the wrong girl, and so
I remember
there was
that.
too much slack in the bungee, so when she dove, she just dove right straight into the floor.
Oh.
Yeah. Killed
you're in
her.
the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I killed her instantly. So I know she told her husband she wanted to be buried in her prop box. So they buried her in her prop box, and that was her coffin, basically.
First year I was in Ringling, there was a girl named Cindy, and she had been the head showgirl, and she learned an act while she was head showgirl and took it to the other unit. There's a red and blue unit, so she went to the blue unit, and in training, she had an accident and hit her head on the ring curb, and that was it. She was gone. So there's accidents, and they
Yeah.
can be
It
very,
happens a
very
lot, yeah.
severe.
I'll show you a picture. I don't know if you can see that very well. See that? See that little clown?
We'll take one and blow
There's
it
a
up.
little glare there. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that's in.
That's Alvin.
That's me. That was in. Oh gosh, it's Cow Palace. I remember.
I remember the Cow Palace.
Yeah, so we did, and we did shows with, different sponsors actually. And I remember the camera guy's like, "Smile to the camera," and I'm just, as a kid, I was so tired walking around. I just kind of turned my head, and I remember that click, and because there was nothing. I was tired, and I wasn't smiling. I was just like, I want to go to sleep. I want to go home. So.
So just so she doesn't remain nameless, I pulled this up. Laura Patterson, 43 from Sarasota, Florida, died while rehearsing a bungee jump for Super Bowl 31. That's probably who this
Yeah.
was then.
That was it.
That's,
Yeah.
we called her Dinky.
Dinky, yeah.
Dinky?
What was her nickname?
That was her
Yeah, so
nickname.
she liked
She was
to
a
be called.
real small girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
sad.
That
Her
is
dad was
very
an
sad.
alcoholic. He liked
No,
his,
Yeah, I mean, when you think of circus, you never really think of these things. I mean, I never.
Well, I'm
really-
sure you know things go wrong.
things go wrong. Yeah, but
Didn't you see Fun in Acapulco?
and it's always in the movies. It's always in the movies.
Yeah.
In real life, being a kid, going to the circus. My dad took me to the circus a couple times when I was very young. Family
There's
members
a
would take.
joke there, but I'm.
Yeah, he didn't leave me. He didn't leave me at the circus. But everything went according to plan.
Yeah.
So the only time I've ever seen anything go bad was actually in the movie. So it's,
Yeah.
yeah, I've seen a lot of accidents.
Yeah.
You might have heard about the latest. It's been a few years now, 5 or 6. But the human chandelier on Ringling
Oh
Brothers.
yeah, that broke
Yeah.
the carabiner.
They all survived, but there was some pretty serious injuries. And I'm sure you've heard of the Highwire family that kept
Linda?
trying to do the
Yeah.
7-man high.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they fell.
They fell, right.
So, and I fell 28 feet. People were the day before show opened on a Russian swing. I was just supposed to be the help. I rode elephants. I was a choreographer, and I had a lyra act, and I did web. But this Russian swing wasn't my act, and I had never really rehearsed it. I was just supposed to be extra push. Russian swing is a metal platform that 5 people stand on,
Yeah.
and you dive off the front of it into a
Right.
net.
I know that
It's
one.
supposed to be height. And I was told how to stand, and you don't wear safeties because if you fall, the swing's about 2 to 4 feet off the ground, and it will kill you if you're safetied on because you can't unhook yourself if you're underneath the metal platform.
Right.
So this one kid who'd been in charge the previous year, there was like 4 minor accidents, and his sister does acts. He wasn't supposed to be in charge, but they did leave him in charge. And he's a nice guy, but he's just a kid, and he
Hot
screwed up.
dogging.
Because of the 4 accidents the prior year, they raised it from 2 feet off the ground to 4 feet, and that saved my life. I was told how to stand. If you go beyond a halfway point, you're not supposed to go beyond a halfway point because, like in a regular swing, when you're swinging and you go too high, your seat lifts off and the chains jerk. When you're standing on a swing, your feet lift off when you go too high and come down. So his sister missed a trick, so he jumps on with me, and he and his sister are arguing. She wants back on, and I yelled at him, "Knock it off, you're freaking me out," because he just keeps pushing the swing higher and higher. This isn't what I was taught. And he pushed it too high, so my feet lift up, which leans me forward, hit my head on his head. Last thing I remember was, ow, that hurt, and I let go. So the swing's coming down, and I'm following the swing. I'm unconscious at this point. I hit the ground in Fort Worth, Texas, which is packed dirt, luckily, not concrete. And I was under the swing. And I started to get up, and I heard everybody yelling at me, "Stay down," which I remembered that, don't get up, because the swing can
Swing
kill
is
you.
still,
Right,
yeah,
yeah.
it's in motion.
Yeah, it'd have
Yeah.
taken your head off
So
had you sat
I broke
up.
my ankle really bad and was in the hospital and had to have surgery and took most of my gymnastics away. I can't, yes, I've hurt my back, I've hurt my ankle, I've hurt my neck.
You stayed with the
It's,
circus though after the surgeries, right? You still went back.
I did. I
Yeah.
moved to about a year later after I got healed up well enough. I had already known Chester Sr., like I said, since I was 14. And Winnie, I'd already worked with them. And so I went to their place and just relearned what I could. And as long as I choreographed it, I could work, just making sure any leaps and stuff dancing wise were done on my right leg that I didn't break versus my left. And aerial work, I always hung by my right ankle, so if you're in the air, that's not hurting your ankle any. I could still hang by my wrists and hang by my leg, and I still had strength, so I could still climb. And then there was some minor accidents after that, so I just didn't want to do it anymore because I didn't trust my rigging, and if you don't trust your rigging,
Yeah.
It's just no fun anymore.
Well, it sounds like you all have had an exciting life for sure.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
used to say you should create a soap opera off of the circus because the living with your neighbors and everything, you work together, you live together, you're good friends, but you also can't get away from each other. So that'd be a great show.
I think it would, yeah.
It'd be a lot of content. Because, how early did you guys get up in the morning and how late did you go to sleep? I imagine it's a 12,
Well,
14.
I remember working 14-hour days, 7 days a week. From sun up to sundown, basically.
And then sometimes you'd have to drive.
Yeah, and sometimes
200
you have to
miles.
drive to do circus jumps to turn around.
Yeah, I remember 300-mile jumps.
Yeah, 300-mile jumps. So you would.
That suck.
Compared to their life, I was a princess because I lived on a train and other people did the driving for me for the most part. And
Yeah.
so I worked with Gaddy.
But it got, they got tiring at times.
But it depended on the shows. Like with Ringling, you might have a 10 a.m. show, but that was rare, and that was a children's show. So usually you were up late, and you didn't get up that early to put on full makeup, and you need an hour just to do your makeup and hair. And
it sounds like a
costumes and
lot
everything.
too, but everybody's working towards the same goal.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter if you were gay or black or white or purple or whatever. Everybody would work together.
Didn't matter if you were an aerialist or you were shoveling elephant poo.
Yeah.
You're
the
part
show
of the
doesn't
circus.
work without everybody.
Had the
you
same-
all matter.
had the same
and
goal.
without all of you, the show does not go on. We were equal in getting the show up and running and make it as good as we could.
Well, I personally would like to thank you for coming on and doing this. I learned a whole lot, and a whole lot more I know now than I did before, so thank you.
Yep, and thank you
Yeah.
for sharing
Thank
your
you.
No
stories.
problem.
Nice to see you, Larry, and nice to meet you, George.
George.
Yeah.
Seeing you guys.
All right. Well, that was a lot of fun.
That was, and that's stories that I've been interested in hearing since I met Alvin.
Right.
We've been neighbors for 3 years.
I tell you, I know the dad was the famous one,
Yeah.
but I think we heard more from Alvin and Chester
Yeah.
Jr.
Yes. Well, they were in there. They were in the
yeah, oh,
trenches
yeah.
the whole entire time.
Yeah.
So that's actually good. Chester's very easy person to look up. You can find a lot of history and stuff you have on him. And we got a lot of information around the
Right.
family and the family dynamics as it pertains to the circus. So I
Yeah.
thought that was actually pretty good.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, again, like and subscribe if you like this shirt with your friends. We're going to do more stuff like this. We love having guests on. If you know a guest or you have somebody that you'd like to recommend as a guest, just hit us up, leave us a comment on YouTube, or you can email us at george@these2guys.com or
Larry@these2guys.com.
yeah. And again, like and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching.
Have a good day.
It's these two guys. These two guys. It's these two guys.